America's tap water. Too much contamination, not enough reporting. Study finds by J.C. Fortin of the New York Times, May 4th, 2017. This article was published. And this article says, if you live in the United States, there is nearly 1 in 4 chance your tap water is either unsafe to drink or has been not been properly monitored for contaminants in accordance with federal law, a new study has found. In 2015, nearly 77 million Americans lived in places where the water systems were in some violation of safety regulations, including the 1974 Safe Drinking Water Act. According to the report released on Tuesday from the Natural Resources Defense Council, a New York-based environmental advocacy group, it's not only that some tap water has high levels of lead, nitrates, arsenic, or other pollutants, said May Yu, a senior attorney with the council's health program. It is that too often a lack of reporting means residents cannot be sure whether their drinking water is contaminated or not. The issue is not new. Tap water safety violations across the United States have been reported again and again and again. The new study is an attempt to tell the big picture story. Ms. Wu said as a backdrop to the piecemeal reports coming out of towns and cities across the country. These include the story of the sinkhole outside Tampa, Florida, which opened up in September, leaking contaminated water and endangering a major aquifer. Florida's Department of Environmental Protection took weeks to notify nearby residents. Or Jemhog County, Texas, where thousands of people were exposed to high levels of arsenic in their drinking water for years, according to a report last year from the Environmental Integrity Project, a non-profit group based in Washington. Or Flint, Michigan, where sky-high levels of lead in tap water were widely publicized in 2015, led not by the EPA but by Flint residents who enlisted allies, including Mac Edwards, a scientist at Virginia Tech, who played a major role in bringing the crisis to national attention. Mr. Edwards said he agreed with the Resources Defense Council's conclusion that the government has not done enough to enforce regulations on drinking water safety. This has been tolerated so long and it is so ingrained in the EPA culture to look the other way, he said. They're going to need outside pressure to act and enforce existing laws. The council's report found that there were around 80,000 reported violations of drinking water safety regulations in 2015. Of those, more than 12,000 were health-based violations, or cases that involved actual contamination problems. In addition, the NRDC said repercussions for violations were virtually non-existent. Nearly 9 to 10 violations were subject to no formal action. Ms. Wu said that data is not sexy, making it hard to use in pushing for meaningful actions like investment in national infrastructure maintenance for drinking water infrastructure like the pipes and the mains. It's out of sight, out of mind, until the main breaks outside your house and you can't drink your own water, she said. She added that part of the difficulty in fixing these problems comes down to a complicated regulatory system in which the responsibility to monitor adherence to federal laws falls largely to states. The report, which relied on data collected by the EPA itself, includes a list of 12 states with the most water safety violations based on population. It is topped by Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Andrea Morrow, a spokeswoman for the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, said the state has been in charge of enforcing the Safe Water Drinking Act since 1977. Asked about cases like the high arsenic levels documented in some parts of the state, she said that Texas was working with finite amounts of groundwater, adding that as of March 2017, 96% of Texas population is served by public water systems that are meeting drinking water standards. President Trump has said he is in favor of infrastructure investment, and he told the Times last year on the campaign trail that crystal clear water was important to him. But both he and the new EPA administrator, Scott Pruitt, support proposals to cut the EPA budget by as much as 31%, something the NRDC says represents a new threat to the nation's water supplies. And if the report did not shy away from politics, neither did the EPA. Under the new leadership, the EPA has made clear it is getting back to its core mission, which includes protecting America's drinking water. Unfortunately, this is an area in which the past administration failed, said Lincoln Ferguson, an EPA spokesman, in an email statement responding to the report. Administrator Pruitt is committed to helping modernize our country's outdated water infrastructure in order to ensure we maintain safe drinking water for the more than 300 million people that depend on it daily. That is not entirely off the mark, said Mr. Edwards, adding that the water problem is partly a result of what we called misplaced priorities. I think the EPA has taken their eye off the ball when it comes to clean water and air, and they were focused on other things, he said, offering climate change as an example. EPA documents like the 2014 to 2018 strategic plan put climate change first on the list of priorities, a worthy cause in Mr. Edwards' view, but one that is often politicized and has difficulty attracting funding. He said water safety regulations and infrastructure maintenance are basic needs that have been neglected by officials, and poor Americans are suffering the most. I am hopeful that this is something we can have bipartisan agreement on, he said. This is un-American what's happening. Now, this was an article printed by the New York Times dealing with Americans' tap water, too much contamination and not enough reporting. I don't know about you, but I think that it's very important to have clean drinking water. And if you're not getting it, you need to know about it. A copy of, well, not a copy of this report, a copy of the highlight of this report you can find down below. You can, and where it says downloading, but also you will receive a email which has the same information. Thank you for subscribing. There'll be more health information coming your way. Please check your email.